Alright, so we are back for another Dokkan battle video, and in today's video we are going to be checking out the banner unit Dbz and Cacao, and then the AMOND and Raisin, because of course both of them are dropping tonight on the Turles' banner. Now, I just got to specify this before we get into the video. Skip the banner. This should be the easiest skip for most players. I mean, if you're a big fan of Turles, if you really like these banner units, I guess I could understand summoning, but for most players, this should be the easiest skip ever. Now, this guy specifically, the AMOND and Raisin, are very, very impressive. They are a support, they've got guard, they also have damage reduction, and they can do some pretty solid damage considering everything else they're doing as well. So, if you do manage to pull them, then I guess you kind of walked away with a W. So, we're going to be showcasing, again, both the new band units in this video. We are doing post-commentary because, I don't know why, but doing commentary while doing the game was just really difficult for me today. So, if the audio seems a little unsynced with the gameplay, that's why I'm doing post-commentary. But yeah, very impressive units. Both the banner units are going to be good, especially next to the new Turles. So if you do manage to pull them, then, you could run them as a pretty good rotation. So right here, we are going to have 4 out of 7 links activated. We don't have Loyalty or Tough as Nails, so that's something you're going to want to keep in mind. Between those two links, I think that's 10% damage reduction, and it's also like 20% defense. So 214k defense. Pretty impressive, again, considering we're missing some damage reduction and some defense from the link Tough as Nails. And we don't have any support right here. And we're continuously building up. So actually, I can go ahead and read over his passive really quick. He's got a lot of other defensive capabilities. Like I said, he's got guard. He's got damage reduction. He is also getting defense on super. So then, dude, there's so much in his kit where he's going to be looking really crazy. Even though his defensive stat wasn't the best, you saw it was like a little over 200k. Considering everything else he's got going on for him, that's still really impressive. So like I mentioned, he is getting 30% defense on super. And then he does also have a high chance of sealing. I mean, the high chance to seal, I guess, is nice, but it is kind of weird. He only has a 50% chance to do it. I don't think there's any other unit that only has a high chance to seal. I think most units just have a guaranteed seal, but whatever. Still pretty useful that he has that. In Super Battle Road, if you do manage to get the seal off, then, of course, that'll be pretty useful. But literally the only 2 events you're going to make use out of that is in Super Battle Road, and then I guess Extreme Super Battle Road. So, not the most universally good thing to have built into his kit, especially considering it's only a 50% chance, because in most difficult content, you're not going to be able to make use out of sealing, but again, still pretty good he has it, I guess. And then his passive is that he gets 150% attack and defense, and then he's giving Planetary Destruction category allies 1 key, 30% attack and defense, and then another 20% defense, and a 10% chance to crit if they also belong on the Space Traveling Warriors category. So that's going to be pretty easy to get with most units on the team. Like, most units are going to get that support buff, because you'll see most units I have running with him now are on Planetary Destruction and then Space Traveling Warriors. So you're going to be surrounding him with units on those categories, so then this support buff is going to be activated most of the time. And it does start to get pretty crazy, because then, you're supporting for 1 key, 30% attack and defense, and, well, I guess 30% attack and then 50% defense, and then a 10% chance to crit if they're on both Planetary Destruction and Space Traveling Warriors. So very good support buff, right? I mean, it's pretty useful all around in terms of damage, defense, and key. So good with the support. And then this is the main kicker of his kit. He gets guaranteed guard and then 20% damage reduction as the first attacker in the turn. So then in slot 1, this guy's basically going to be untouchable. Like, he's not really going to be taking any damage. He's got 20% damage reduction, guaranteed guard, and then, he's getting defense on super, so then the attacks you take after you super are going to do a lot less damage, especially if you get the double super. And also, his link set. He's got Loyalty, Tough as Nails, and Thirst for Conquest. So between those 3 links, that's, I think, 10% damage reduction, and then 35% defense. So, yeah, basically 30% damage reduction. He's got 35% defense from his links as well, and then he's got the guaranteed guard in slot 1. Like, there's just so much with him where he's going to be looking very, very crazy. And especially considering he's an extreme class unit that's really good for slot 1, it makes him very useful, because a lot of these extreme class teams, unfortunately, don't have a good slot 1 option. So then him also being a support, it just makes him even crazier. So you can see on a rotation like this, we've got 50% support from the Vegeta. We have built up a little. We're sitting here at 626k defense. Dude, 626k defense. We've got guard, 20% damage reduction. We're supporting, and are we fully built up? Yeah, okay, we are. So we're fully built up right here, but you only need to take like 5 attacks to get fully built up with him. So it's going to be really easy to get. especially considering even when you dodge an attack, that does still count as a buildup, because in the way it's worded in his passive, he gets 30% attack and defense every time guard is activated, up to 150%. So then if you're taking an attack and you dodge it, you're still activating guard technically, even though you dodge the attack. So then you still get that 30% attack and defense. So then that's why I was saying earlier in the video, going full addition, or not going full additionals, but going a mix of additionals and dodge will be good, or potentially just going full dodge, I can understand as well, because dodge is going to be really good on this character, because then if you dodge an attack, it's fine. You're still building up with him, and then obviously you're avoiding some damage. Because, you know, if you're not in slot 1, let's say you get locked in slot 2 or 3, yeah, he can get cooked. You know, without the guard, without the 20% damage reduction, he's going to take a bit of damage. If you've fully built up with him, you know, you get the double super off, and then I guess you've got the 10% damage reduction from his links. He can look kind of good. Maybe he'll be able to tank normals in these difficult events, but a super attack would still obliterate him if you're missing the guard and damage reduction. So that's why slot 1 is just overall the best place for him. Hopefully you can get a couple dodges in there, but I don't really think it'd matter anyway because he's tanking most attacks. I guess maybe if you're fighting an enemy who's hitting for like over 2 million, if he's not built up, or if he's not fully built up, he might take a little bit of damage even if he's in slot 1. But majority of the time, if he's in slot 1, you're chilling with him because, well, you've seen, you know, over 600k defense, 30% defense on super, 20% damage reduction, guaranteed guard in slot 1, building up to 150% defense. Yeah, it gets pretty crazy. So, okay, on this rotation right here, let's see how much defense he's at, because we got a very, very good turn. We do have support from the Chi Light, and we are fully built up. All right, 360k defense. That's pretty good. This is a very realistic turn for him right here. We only have a little bit of support, and we do have the 6 out of 7 links activated. But, you know, because we're in slot 1, we're chilling, right? I mean, we're doing a 5.8 million attack stat. We get the 30% defense on super, so right here we're going to be, I think, almost 500k defense with guard and then 30% damage reduction, because of course we get the damage reduction from our links. Yeah, I'd say that's pretty good, especially just for like a random banner unit. So they cooked with this one. If only they did this with most extreme class units and didn't just completely fumble them. Oh yeah, and then there's this banner unit. So I'll just briefly go over them. Their thing is dodge. That's basically it. They get dodge once they attack, and then they can kind of, you know, dodge a lot of attacks and look impressive. So basically, now that I'm thinking about it, it's like the banner unit, Rikumen Guldo, and then Birder and Jace. So these guys are the Birder and Jace, and then the ballsack guy, I forget his name again, the one with ballsack guy, the one we've been talking about the whole video and saying how they're amazing. They're like the Rikumen Guldo. They've got the guard, they get the crazy stats, and then the Dbz and Cacao, they get like dodge and stuff like that. So they're definitely more of a slot 2 option, which works good because then ballsack guys for slot 1. So, all right, I guess that's pretty much it in the Legendary Vegeta event. We can go and get to the difficult test. Overall, they've looked pretty impressive. Alright, so we're here fighting Cell Max. Obviously, he is a tech enemy, so then it'll work good for the Ballsack guy because they have type advantage. Now, we do have 50% support from the Vegeta, so this is a pretty juiced up rotation for them right here. We got 6 out of 7 links activated. We are taking a bit of attacks in slot 1 as well. So, we should be chilling right here. Yeah, easy double digits, but, I mean, I'm sure you guys expected that. You know, guard, 20% damage reduction, and type advantage. Like, yeah, we're going to be cooking here. So hopefully we do take a super. I want to see how much damage they take. But if the Dbz and Cacao get supered, I'd be curious as well. Like how much they're going to take. Okay, yeah, well, they might get supered here. So you got to remember, they are kind of a dodging unit. So they could dodge this. And if they dodge it, that's still very good for them. Because then they're avoiding like 2 million damage. Because they've got type disadvantage right here. So they're going to take so much. So if we get a dodge, that shows they're still very useful. Okay, the triple super. So they don't get defense on super, unfortunately. Very odd design choice, but whatever. With the triple super, we're still doing some solid damage. We did a crit on all of those attacks. And we did not dodge the super. Alright, how much damage is it doing? Yeah, 1.84. Yeah, that's some damage, alright. I mean, if they don't dodge, they get cooked. Very simple. But you guys already know, my boy AMOND and RASIN would have absolutely tanked that if they got supered. So, with all that shown, let's go and cut to the unit breakdown. Overall, they both performed pretty good. I mean, I expect him to die. You know, he's got type disadvantage. Alright, so here we have Joint Battlefield and Disruption, AMOND and RASIN. So starting off with their leader skill, it is Planetary Destruction, category Key +3, HP and attack and defense plus 130%. Obviously, bad leader skill. Banner units typically don't have a good lead, so it doesn't really matter with that. And then his super attack effect is that he's getting 30% defense and then has a high chance to seal. So obviously the high chance to seal, like we mentioned earlier, not really the best thing, but having the defense on super is very good because then, like I said already, you give him a mix of additionals and dodge, he could potentially get the double super, and then after he gets the double super, defensively he's going to skyrocket. And then also you could potentially get some dodge in there as well. And with guard and 20% damage reduction, having a very high defensive stat is just going to make him untouchable. So very good with that. And then his passive is that he gets 150% attack and defense. He gives Planetary Destruction category allies 1 key, 30% attack and defense, and then another 20% defense and then 10% crit chance for allies who belong on the Space Traveling Warriors category. So one thing they could have done to make this guy, like, I don't know, the best support unit in the game and one of the most useful units to have in the game is instead of supporting for crit, they made him support for damage reduction. Like, imagine if this guy supported for 10% damage reduction. That would have made him so crazy. I know they don't really do that with units, but I just had to mention it because I think it's so crazy. Kid Goku is still the only unit that supports for damage reduction, and he's over a year old at this point. Actually, the Dokkan Fest on JP, I think literally marks the spot Kid Goku released in. So the fact he is the only unit that supports for damage reduction is crazy to me because he's one of the best supports in the game. Like on release, he was universally agreed upon to be one of the best, most useful just units in the game overall. And they don't want to design anyone similar to him. I don't know, that just doesn't really make sense to me. But anyway, sorry, I went off on a little tangent right there. 10% crit chance, still good. And then he also does get guaranteed guard, 20% damage reduction in slot 1, gets the 50% attack, and then guaranteed additional super attack in slot 2 or 3, and then gets another 30% attack and defense every time guard is activated, up to 150%. So all stuff we already went over in the video, so I won't really elaborate on that anymore. But then his links are Loyalty, Destroyer of the Universe, Team Turles, Brutal Beatdown, Thirst for Conquest, Tough as Nails, and Fierce Battle. So actually, a good link set, but, no big bad bosses does suck. I mean, he's a ban unit, so I know he wouldn't have big bad bosses. It wouldn't really make much sense for him to have it. But, dude, imagine if he supported for damage reduction, and imagine if he had big bad bosses. This guy would be, like, one of the best units in the game in general, not even ban units. But, again, good link set. I don't want to take that away from him. And then his categories are Joined Forces, Terrifying Conquerors, Space Traveling Warriors, and then Planetary Destruction. So unfortunately, not a lot of categories really, only having 4 does kind of suck, but all 4 of these teams definitely could use the help, especially for the extreme class side of it. So definitely good that he's on those teams and he's still helping them. So I guess that pretty much has been the video. Let me know what you guys are thinking of both the new banner units for the Turles' banner, and let me know if you are summoning for Turles or if you're saving for, well, probably Tanabata. I think that's what most of you are probably going to end up doing. So once again, that has been the video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.